This episode, I'm with Dave Long, the GOAT of building a fitness franchise. So for those people that just don't know, because they haven't been outside, so Orangetheory Fitness, how many locations are you up to right now?
We just crossed 850.
850 locations, and that's what we're shooting this here in December 2017.
When you look at how fast we've grown, but we've never closed a location, and we had very few underperforming locations.
You've never closed a
We've
location?
Never closed a location.
Ever?
Ever, no.
You have 850?
850, we want to keep that going for a very long time. It's really important. That's really important to us.
I don't know if another franchise can say that.
Of our size,
That's at least 8 years?
It starts to get pretty thin. When you get to our size, you're going to end up missing a couple, but we haven't. I think it's what you mentioned, though. It's having such a focus on all the things that come before that each store opens. Again, being obsessive about making sure it's the best possible location for the studio.
Everyone wants to be great, but only few actually get there. And I'm on a mission to find out what all the greatest have in common. I've traveled tirelessly to find, sit down, and talk with GOATs. People that are arguably the greatest of all time at what they do. Sales, marketing, advertising, business, podcasts, branding, you name it. The way they do things may be different, but they all seem to see the world the same way. To them, success is not only achievable, but inevitable. And we'll get inside their heads as they share their expertise with me each week. My name's Mike Arce, and this is The GOAT Show. This episode is sponsored by Loud Rumor. If you own a fitness studio, cryotherapy, or massage business, there is no company in the industry better at generating high-quality leads than Loud Rumor. In just the last 2 years, Loud Rumor has worked with nearly 1,000 fitness and wellness companies and won ranking Arizona's Ad Agency of the Year in 2017. Getting more paying members in the door can be tough. Let Loud Rumor do the heavy lifting and get new people in your doors every day. Go to loudrumor.com and learn more. And I also have to share my experience with ClickFunnels. If you've been living under a rock and haven't heard of them, they're hands down the #1 platform for building landing pages and marketing funnels. I've been using them since 2015, and it's so crazy how easily my team and I create landing pages using their proven templates and easy drag and drop system. Without any design or coding experience whatsoever, we've been able to create hundreds of landing pages within minutes that look great and close sales better than anything we've used in the past. They're great for webinar funnels, sales funnels, demos, squeeze pages, you name it. I can't even imagine my business doing as well without them. And actually right now, they're offering a free 14-day trial if you go to clickfunnelspromo.com. So I definitely recommend you guys take advantage of that 14-day trial. It's free for 14 days, and you can get it at clickfunnelspromo.com. Dave Long, how you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the GOAT Show.
Thanks.
All right, so you are the co-founder and CEO of Orangetheory Fitness. So for those people that just don't know, because they haven't been outside, so Orangetheory Fitness, how many locations are you up to right now?
We just crossed 850.
850 locations, and that's what we're shooting this here in December 2017. So who knows how many you'll have by the time this episode comes out. But when you first started Orangetheory, you had Ellen. We're going to talk about her.
Yep.
And now you got Jerome, so the three of you guys, right? So you guys kind of got together and started this thing. Before we get into the story of that, and also I want to get into you and what you do to be successful and build this incredible place, right? I want to talk about really what is Orangetheory Fitness. For those people that just haven't fully looked into it, tell me about it.
Yeah. So it's part of the new studio model of fitness facilities that are popping up, and you're seeing a lot of different types. Ours is solely focused on a very science-backed, results-driven 1-hour workout, and it's a total body workout. It covers your cardiovascular component, your strength, mobility component, all in 1 hour. And the workout changes every single day. So every time you come in, you get the components, but you get a new flavor of it.
Okay.
Overarching that is we're monitoring everybody's heart rate during that workout. And the goal is to have their heart rate in the right zones for at least 12 minutes of that hour to really supercharge your metabolism. It's called EPOC. Your body burns more oxygen and more calories up to 36 hours after that hour.
Well, what's EPOC stand for?
It's excess post-exercise oxygen consumption.
Wow. So
the body gets supercharged, it's burning more oxygen, more calories. And the goal is most people would not argue that they don't want to lose some body fat. Some people have more than others, but everybody wants to be leaner and stronger and have more energy. And so the workout is really centered around providing a platform for them to achieve that in a relatively short amount of time per week, 2 to 3 hours a week.
Sure. Now, I've done the workout several times, and it's awesome. And when you go in there, you get hooked up with this heart rate monitor, and you see the TV, and I'm a super competitive guy, so I'm looking to find out who Tim is and who's the guy that looks like he's working harder than me so I can catch up to him. But there's a lot of fitness studios now wanting to emulate that model where they have the tiles and the heart rate monitors, but you guys were number one.
We were definitely the first to do it, and the first to really tie it to the programming. You can strap a heart rate monitor on anybody and do anything with it, but it was really built around the programming.
Okay. Now, when I went in there, I've been in there probably 3-4 times in the last couple months. When I went in there, it was pretty interesting where there's like a screen and there's this digital guide. He's kind of guiding us through, but then there's TVs everywhere, and I feel like I'm in this dark room, and it's awesome. So tell me about the technology that I see as a person coming in and working out for the first time. What am I surrounded by?
Yeah, so it's still a people-driven business. So there's a coach that's leading the workout for safety, for motivation, for demonstrating the exercises and the sequences. But then we layer in technology to support all that because it's a group of sometimes 30 people. And so you have the heart rate monitor screen, so each member can see where they're at with their heart rate zone and know where they should be pushing to for that hour. And then there's the screens that you saw which demonstrate all the exercises in the perfect form. So, John, the coach, shows you how to do it, and then he walks to help some other people or the people on the treadmills, and you're unsure about how to do it. Yeah, you could look at the person next to you, but maybe they're not doing it right either. Or you could go to the screen that shows you the perfect way to do it. And so by providing those cues, we help people be really independent in it as well. And people like to really be able to figure stuff out and to conquer it versus having to repeatedly ask for help. So putting those cues in there with the screens has been really a game changer for us.
Right. And there's a phrase out there that's really popular in business development, and it's different is better than better. And you guys were the first to do that heart rate monitoring in the fitness studio space, and you guys are working on some cool stuff too that's incredible, and I can't wait to talk to you about that here. But when you went into it, because I don't care what business you're in, I don't care if you're in fitness or if you're in finance or whatever, it doesn't really matter. What is it that you knew you had to pay attention to in order to make sure that your stuff was different? Like, did you start with the consumer? Did you start with the competitors? Where did you start everything?
I think fortunately we really started with the consumer, and going into it, we wanted a workout product that had very broad appeal.
Because no one was saying we wanted heart rate monitors.
No one was saying that, and I think people would automatically put different fitness products in a category that it's for the 20, 30-year-old, or it's for an older demographic or an unfit demographic. We wanted to provide something that we could that would be very broad. So there's a 25-year-old working out with a 75-year-old right next to them. They're both getting their personal best, which is vastly different, but for them, they're making great progress. So the goal was really around the consumer first and giving them a product they didn't necessarily know they needed, but it provided such great results when they went through it that it hooked them in that way. And what was great about having Ellen as a partner, she kept us very grounded in making sure that we did not fiddle with the product, that we kept the science behind it, and that we didn't ebb and flow based on feedback, because we knew the core of what she had built with the workout was the best that it could be. And now it was a matter of layering around the branding and the technology and really the customer experience is the other side of it. People want to be treated well. They love coming into this studio environment where there's a great culture. They get to know their members. The staff and them know each other. And so it's the Cheers mentality of being able to go in and people know you, and that's a great advantage for us because it's a small studio versus a very large facility.
Now let's talk about the story. So how did this all begin? It's not like you already had like 10 fitness franchises that were successful and you're like, let's start another one. Yeah. So this started somewhere. You had somebody you were talking with, you got with Ellen. So talk about that story.
Yeah, so it was 2009. We were looking across the US and Europe for what we thought was the best fitness kind of idea that we thought we could turn into a studio and grow it from there, and it had to drive results. We didn't want anything that wasn't really backed by science. Right. And so we very fortunately crossed paths with Ellen through my other partner, Jerome's wife was taking her son to classes at Ellen's, and Ellen's got a bunch of different programs going on within her facility. And so we met with Ellen, took the workout right away, and was just blown away. Right. She had never done franchising. She had been building her own fitness business for really over 30 years. Now it's been 40 years, and she's an icon in South Florida, but she's really mastered her business. And so what was great about that is she had the foundation of the product, and then we came in with the franchising piece, the business and branding piece, really how to drive membership and grow a studio. And so that combination just obviously took off.
Now, you guys work pretty well as partners?
We do, and I think, it's been a 10-year, almost a 9-year journey at this point. So you kind of learn how to do the dance, and I think because we went into it saying it's got to be amazing for the consumer, and we're going to stick to that. That's helped us stay aligned, and it makes decisions a lot easier to make, because when you can always go back to, well, is this good for the consumer, and now is this good for the franchisee, because they're our customer that's growing this business with the studios that they're opening.
There's a great book called Overcoming the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely one of my favorite books. But I think what a lot of people don't realize, not just within teams, but in partnerships as well, that conflict can actually be pretty healthy. And sometimes not agreeing passionately sometimes can be pretty healthy as well, especially if we all want the same result.
Sure.
You guys ever get in those arguments?
Yeah, they were very often, especially early on, because there were a lot of decisions to make when you're smaller that could vastly change the direction of the business. And so there were, an example would be we opened the first studio without heart rate monitoring, and then we added in only about 6 months after. But at that point, it was very new into the marketplace. The technology wasn't perfect, so it was clunky, to say the least. I was a big proponent of doing it. Ellen thought we had the program already nailed, and why layer in something that could be a real headache? And it was a headache, and her argument was real, but I just had this feeling that if we could get people focused on heart rate and give them more, just more granular data, they're going to get better progress, they're going to get motivated, and obviously that ended up ringing true, because people get hooked on seeing the data improving.
Absolutely. And
so that was a bit of a struggle, and I kind of had to just take that whole program under my wing and say, I'm going to make sure that we're not going to mess up our first two or three studios with it. Because there was a real risk of we alienate our original members of our original studios, and the scene could have changed really quickly.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's how a lot of big decisions are made, because you have to look at the workload that goes in. Like sometimes you get too deep, you can't go back, because that's part of the brand and that's part of the message now. So let's talk about you, because you're obviously a very successful person now, and you got great teams here. And we got a chance to talk behind the scenes, and you're reading some of the books that I've read, some that I haven't, I'm excited to read. So you're big into that stuff. So let's talk about some routines that you have as a person that's in charge and responsible for a lot of people, not just your franchisees, but you have 150 some people in this building alone, your headquarters, right? So you're responsible for a lot. What do you do? What are routines that you have to make sure that you continue growing as a person and as a leader?
Yeah, I think, and really over the last 12, 18 months, I've really kind of fine-tuned a number of things that I stay really consistent with. One is a daily meditation, and it can be as little as 5 minutes or as much as 20, but getting that in each day, typically very early in the day. And so that's kind of like the part of the morning routine typically.
Let's talk about that, because there's so many different types of meditation. A lot of people struggle with picking the one that works for them. What type of meditation do you do? Like, how does it work for you?
So I use a simple app called Headspace, because it's really easy to assimilate into your schedule.
Tim Ferriss recommends that one.
Yeah, it's another Tim Ferriss one, but it's worked really well for me. I've been doing that for at least a year, and I recommended it to our whole team here. We had like a dozen people that immediately got on it, and then some people it wasn't for them. So I know there's a lot of tools out there. That one's worked well for me. So that the meditation piece is really important, and then my morning routine is really around getting the workout in first thing in the morning. Probably 6 out of 7 days.
I'm assuming Orangetheory.
It's Orangetheory, and then I do like stretching and mobility stuff, which is a good yin to the Orangetheory yang, right? So that's a big part of the week, is making sure I get that in almost every day, and sleep is another big part of my routine, is continuing to refine getting enough sleep. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, that's usually what suffers first. And so I've really worked to add at least 30 to 45 minutes back into my kind of average sleep. And I'm using some wearables to track that, and some new things that we're working on.
So how many hours of sleep would you say you get per night?
I'm trying to break 7 hours on average.
Get more than 7?
Yeah.
Do you take naps during the day?
No.
I hear that's healthy, but I don't know how to work that in.
I haven't figured that part out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So sleep?
And then I do a bunch of unique recovery things, cold plunges,
You
saunas.
do the cold plunges?
Yeah.
So where do you do
sauna.
those?
I've got that whole setup at my house.
Okay.
So cold plunge, sauna, float pod, and then we've recreated that here at our office called the Oasis. We have all those facilities as well.
So now you get to do it here.
Yeah, so now I have no excuses. I can jump in here too.
That's awesome. And then again too, all the team.
The team gets it. Yeah.
All right, so you do the ice is it ice bath? I mean, same thing, right? The cold plunge?
Yep.
Okay, so how long are you in there for?
3 to 5 minutes, and then I'll do like 10 to 15 in the infrared sauna.
Is there like chunks of ice in this thing? Is this freezing water?
It's like just above, it's like 42 degrees. So
Oh my God.
It's pretty cold.
Okay.
It's pretty cold.
So you're in there, and then you go into, what's the next thing you said?
The infrared sauna is
Infrared
about
sauna.
155.
155
so it's a big
degrees.
Contrast. Yeah.
Okay, how long are you in there for?
10 to 15 minutes, and
10
I'll
to
rotate back to the cold.
And do you rotate back to hot again, or do you do cold, hot, cold?
It all depends on how much time I have. I always try to do 1 round and
Okay.
as many as 3 rounds.
Is that daily?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the biggest thing that when I go on the road, I really miss actually doing that. Even though it's never fun getting in that cold tub, the benefits are amazing.
I have this drink, this crazy concoction that I make every morning that I miss when I'm on the road too.
Yep.
Because I get stopped by TSA every time they see all my stuff
Yeah,
that I have in there.
Me too.
So, okay, cool. So you do that. Now, you have a family, right? So you make time for them as well?
Absolutely.
So tell me about the routines you have with your family. Do you have like date nights, or do you have family nights or anything like that?
And so I try to get out of the office at a relatively decent hour so that we can do kind of the normal dinner and outdoor stuff from like say 6 p.m. on. And one thing I do that's unique is probably 2/3 of my business trips I actually bring the entire family.
Oh,
and
really?
so I get to see them and do things, and the schedules are always crazy.
How does that work with school?
It's been interesting since my daughter's been in kindergarten, but we've been able to kind of pick and choose the trips that we really wanted everybody to go on, and then some trips she skipped. But
And then did they give her the homework and stuff?
Take
'Cause
the
that's one of the
homework,
things
do the
I've
whole
struggled
thing.
with too. I travel a lot, and I'm like, I want to bring everyone, but man, you got this kid's in 4th grade or 5th grade, and okay, cool. So you figured out how to do. You get the homework. So with all this stuff, and you didn't learn you weren't born knowing about cold plunge, infrared sauna, cold plunge. Like you learned that, right? So you're reading books and you're listening to podcasts. You have mentors, coaches. So when do you find time to get in the reading that you get in it, and how much do you read either per day or per week?
Yeah. So I kind of do it 2 ways. I do a lot through podcasts.
Okay.
And so pretty much all my driving, I'm listening to a podcast.
What's your favorite 2 or 3 podcasts? I mean, obviously the G.O.A.T show is going to be on it.
Of course.
Let's talk about 2nd and 3rd and 4th, right?
Tim Ferriss does some great ones.
Tim Ferriss show.
Rhonda Patrick does some great podcasts, and
Okay.
she gets in a lot of the nutrition, real science-based stuff, but stuff that I'm into.
Yeah, like the biohacking stuff.
Yep, all the biohacking. Obviously, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger podcast with Tim Ferriss is amazing. Dom D'Agostino is an amazing scientist and guy that does a lot of nutritional research and low-carb research. So I've been getting into that as well.
That's cool.
So the podcasts, unless I have a call when I'm in the car, I pretty much am listening to a podcast like 99% of the time. And then I try to do my reading pretty much before bed. It's a good way to kind of knock yourself out. And so that that's probably 30 to 45 minutes, but I try to do it every single night.
So what are some mentors, coaches that you've had that you would say have played a huge role in you getting to where you're at today?
I've been really fortunate. It's been a large number of people that have been just open and willing to give me feedback. And so I've used, kind of a professional, coach on and off for a few years, but it's been a number of folks from the fitness industry, from franchising industry, even folks at our equity partner firm that I can kind of a la carte get a lot of feedback and get a lot of advice, when needed, and that's been really helpful because different situations, different things, a different individual might be able to offer up something that's more tangible for me. Mm-hmm. So I kind of use that method where I reach out to a number of people about a number of things and develop a cadence where they feel we're both comfortable doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's got you where you're at. So let's go back to business for a minute, because one of the things that I've noticed, I get to sit down with a lot of people in the fitness space, and what I've noticed is in this franchise, Orangetheory Fitness, you guys really have systems to make sure that your franchisees are set up for success, all the way from making sure they pick the right location where they're set up to be successful. They have all the tools, they have the goals, they have the partnerships, all that stuff. So with anybody wanting to get involved with a franchise, right? Tell me what it looks like for me. Let's say I wanted to get Orangetheory.
Yeah.
Obviously I can't do it in my home state because everyone took it. Done. So I got to go now. I got to be a road tripper. Sam knows about it. So if I wanted to get an Orangetheory Fitness at the next closest location that I like, what would it cost me? And then what would I have to go through for you guys to even qualify me?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, interestingly enough, over 90% of our folks that are interested in Orangetheory, they come through because they are a member or referred by a member.
Really?
So, that's amazing for us, because when people are reaching out to want to be part of this, they already know what it is and they believe in it. And that's like 80% of the challenge, is that we want people that are really committed to the brand.
And that's really how it originally started with you guys.
It is.
With Ellen.
It's absolutely.
Okay.
And we just continued down that path, which has been amazing. And it's, as the bigger the brand gets, the more people are experiencing it, so it grows in that way. So, once we know there's a real commitment level and alignment of values, it's really a matter of kind of going through and make sure that person has the skill set to build an amazing team. And like we've talked about, it's all about having amazing leadership at the business level. I mean, that's how you're going to either win or not. And so that's really what we dig into. And like you mentioned, a lot of areas are sold out, and so we have a ton of people that are actually willing to relocate to a new state or part of the country because they want to kick off Orangetheory. Sure. And they're willing to do that. Early on, it was a lot of South Florida people that saw us first where we started, and a couple of dozen folks moved from South Florida to Southern California and really took that market by storm, which was amazing for everybody. And so it's really a matter of making sure that the skill set's there. And then you're going through, the kind of just the approval processes, and then, coming on board, then it becomes even more intense of the training protocols that we take the franchisees through. We do, a full week of on-site training here, and then we have 3 or 4 webinars every single month that are continuous.
Really?
And backed up by an online learning platform. So
what are some of the topics in the webinar?
So, monthly we're talking about the fitness product, because every day of that month is a new routine. We're talking about sales and marketing, operations, and then just general overall brand initiatives and things that are happening in innovation. Cool. So there's a lot, but it's again, that goes back to the commitment levels. This can't be a part-time thing where somebody carve a couple hours out for.
Yeah, it's still a business.
They've got to be really dedicated to it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say I go, man, this sounds great. You like me. You say, man, Mike would be a great Orangetheory franchisee. And I say, yeah, this looks great. I'm totally committed to the work, and I'll move here. What does it cost me?
So the franchise fee, to get in is like $49,000, and that's really just to get into the franchise system and lock in your trade area. And then depending on where you're at in the country, it could be anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million plus in the urban markets for the all-in build out, and all the other expenses that go with starting.
People help me with coordinating all that and making sure I use the right vendors and all that.
Yeah, and I think when you look at how fast we've grown, but we've never closed a location, and we have very few underperforming locations.
You've never closed a location?
Never closed a location.
Ever?
Ever, no.
You have 850?
850. We want to keep that going for a very long time. It's really important. That's really important to us.
I don't know if another franchise can say that.
Of our size,
that's at least 8 years.
It starts to get pretty thin. When you get to our size, you're going to end up missing a couple, but we haven't. I think it's what you mentioned, though. It's having such a focus on all the things that come before that each store opens, again, being obsessive about making sure it's the best possible location for the studio, and then all the business planning and pre-marketing, so that the goal is that a studio month 1 is already busy. Yeah. And because we're so forward planning, every once in a while we might miss on that, but we're not really behind the 8 ball. We just didn't do quite as well. Mm-hmm. And then we're hyper focused on the first 90 days to make sure a studio that opens a little below, the averages can come up to it.
I'm sure location plays, obviously, like in all marketing, plays a huge role, as well as the skill set and the work ethic of that franchisee. Mm-hmm. But on average, when you look at your franchisees, how long does it take for somebody to start getting into profitability when they take out the build out and the franchise fee and all that?
Yes, so on a month-over-month basis, the goal is to open in month 1, so that in month 2 you already can be in a cash flow positive state. Okay. And that's not something that we can rep to, because it's not in the FDD, but when you look at what a franchisee's goals are, they want to have enough people signed up when they open that they're already paying their bills.
I think his goal is like 200 or 300, something like that.
Yeah, we're averaging over 400 this year per opening.
Yeah,
that's really a great place to start.
Don't you give people awards for hitting like 500 or something?
We have a 500 club. We have over 200 locations that are in that club.
So you incentivize them, and is there anything that comes with it other than having 500 members and their name on the wall or something?
It's all about their name on the wall and the success.
But you know what? The person that hits 500, they like that. Yeah. That's exciting for them.
It is.
All right, so you're a biohacking guy.
Yeah.
So tell me about 1 or 2 really awesome, interesting things that you've learned that you're like, man, I got to implement this. Maybe it's been tough to do, but whether it's like certain foods to eat or time of day to eat, or like I know people are into the ketogenic or the, intermittent fasting, stuff like that. What is it for you that you're like, man, this is cool, I want to really
well, you named two of them. So
Which ones?
I've been doing intermittent fasting this entire year.
Okay.
And once you get in the groove of that, it's pretty tough because it's such a drastic change for an old school person that was used to eating like 5 or 6 meals every 3 hours. So you end up eating like, 14 hours a day you might be eating.
So when does this start and end for you?
So for me, I'm doing more or less 10 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m.
Okay, and then you don't eat anything after 5 or 6?
Yeah,
now what happens when somebody brings out Tostitos and salsa?
It's rough.
Is it rough?
Yeah.
That's my weakness, is Tostitos. I could turn away the burger, but the dip really hurts me. Okay, so you can say no to that at 8 p.m.
The thing is, it helps to just have a straight cutoff, right? Because then you're not like, well, I'm just going to have a small amount, and it ends up being a large amount. You're either on or you're off. And look, there are days that schedule changes, but my goal is like at least 80-90% of the time I'm stringent about that. And then I'm doing pretty low carbohydrate, especially refined sugars is pretty much zero, and that's really helped me.
So a lot of good fats?
Yeah, tons of good fats, avocado, olive oils, macadamia. So that really anchors my diet, and I think I've had a number of pretty significant injuries I think have been a result of overinflammation from just having the wrong diet. And I've noticed in the last 18 months of keeping all that refined stuff out that I'm feeling so much better. Joints, and as you age, more things hurt. And I feel like I've kind of turned the clocks back on that stuff through diet.
Yeah, I like to blame all the new pains that I have now on just me getting more aggressive than I was when I was younger, but I don't think that's the case. I think I'm legitimately getting old. Every day I'm getting something. All right, so take back to business one last time, and then we're going to close out here because you guys couldn't get to where you're at today without a really good marketing and or advertising plan, right? And you guys have done stuff with PR and all that too. But when it comes to working with a marketing partner, whether it's people that you bring in-house, right, that you're going to build an internal team, or whether it's hiring externally, what are some things that you look for in those individuals to make sure that they're the right fit?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think there's got to be alignment on that group or individual understands our brand and what we're trying to accomplish and who our audience is and how we're trying to impact them. And they get that at a core level because everything kind of flows from that. So I think getting that lined up, obviously they've got to have the skill set in the areas we want them to excel in, whether it be digital or PR or whatever. There's some boxes you have to check that they've got the minimum criteria, hopefully well above that. And then I believe after that, it's really about accountability. And there's so many exciting things that can be done with marketing and branding, but you've got to be able to monitor metrics and see what is it really driving to me through guest traffic or through net member gain, impressions. So I think making sure that out of the gate there's very much a results-minded type of thought process, and that there's a good cadence of when are we going to evaluate results. There could be a lot of shiny, fun things happening for an entire year, and then you turn back and go, well, did I really actually accomplish what I wanted to from a business growth standpoint? So I think making sure that's aligned, and most of the firms and the individuals are getting more in tune to this now, right? And with it being such a digital world, you're able to track so much more, which again should drive it right back to let's be tracking the metrics because we can capture them. Right,
and you have to worry about two different things as the advertising market, right? Because you not only want to help your franchisees get more members in the door, but you also want to continue hitting and working on your goals of growing the franchise and getting more franchisees to help spread this message out to the world, right? So do you see these two marketing strategies being pretty different?
I think we've benefited so much off the organic growth of people that have come into the business, not with the idea of franchising first, just with the idea of being a customer, that's really helped kind of take those two streams and almost combine them into one. We don't do a lot of, we'd say, focused franchise development. We do a little bit of PR around it, mostly to highlight amazing franchisees so that if you are thinking about it, you can kind of get a day in the life of Joe in Houston and what he's doing and what's happened. So those are the type of things that we focus on, and like going into next year, we're going to have some more video and digital content around that. But we don't have like a media strategy around franchise development. It really is tied to just open more studios and provide people a great customer experience. And out of those thousands of new people constantly coming in, there's going to be a lot that want to end up owning studios, which is pretty exciting. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so we told everybody to hang on because we're going to talk about the new stuff you're working on, because this is exciting. I know for me, the most exciting stuff is the stuff that we just decided we're going to work on, and now we're going to get it going. And you have stuff like that in your business. So talk to me about what 2018 and on is going to look like with what you guys have in your vision.
Yeah. So It's mostly levered around technology because we still want to continue to improve the fitness product, but we're not making drastic changes to it because it's got a science foundation that works.
Right.
So now it's a matter of you're a customer and how do we improve your experience? And there are a number of ways. One, we want to capture a lot more data. So we've got the rowing component, the running component. We have fitness challenges that happen throughout the workout or throughout the month. And so we're going to start tracking all of that. And then we're going to launch.
How do you track that? Is every machine tied to another?
Every machine is calibrated and chipped so that it tracks all that information.
So the person and the machine connect.
They connect. Yeah, so they connect. We call it connected fitness.
Okay.
All that data flows up to the cloud, and then it gets pushed to the website and to your app profile.
Now, I didn't know it was called Connected Fitness, so you picked a good name when the first thing I thought was Connect. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you. So you got this awesome name, and now every machine is connecting with the individual. So that's not just the rowers, but the bikes and the treadmills and all that stuff too? Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right, so now how do I see the results? I mean, are they still on the TV or do I get them emailed to me?
So you're still going to get real-time results and tracking of distances and power output, and more importantly, the delta, like how are you improving over time? And so you'll get a heads-up display through the app, or if you're going onto the website with your login, you'll see it that way. Most people are going to obviously use the app. So through kind of easy-to-read charts and graphs, you can see your progress.
Wow.
What's happening with my calorie burn, and I think one of the coolest things is when people enter our studio environment, they're not runners or joggers. They're mostly people that are walking. It's the general public. They're walking, sometimes 3 miles an hour. And that you take that person and they see that data, and then in 6 months, they're doing a sprint at 10 miles an hour. And the sense of accomplishment they have, and not even probably realizing how far they've come, but being able to show them that is an amazing game changer for us, because they're doing the work and it's happening, and now they can see it.
We all like to see this. That's why Fitbit got real big, and the Apple Watch. And I don't even know how. I know when some people drive, they like to look at how they're driving as far as like efficiency goes. Like, we really like being the measured. And how cool is it for this company to have you as a leader, where you are like the biohacking guy? So you like learning about this stuff, and then you're passionately, because it's your thing, able to work on these new ideas that allow the members to biohack their workouts and really be able to see like how everything's really working. I think that's pretty cool. And another thing that was really cool you were talking to me about behind the scenes is that people like to visit other locations when they're traveling, right? So if I live in Phoenix and I'm huge in Orangetheory in Phoenix, but now I'm here in Miami, I can go to a Miami location, work out here. But you're saying you're going to be able to make everything connect much better too, where when I walk in, the staff knows more about me. Is that right? Or something like that?
Yeah, and so it's an amazing benefit of our growth has been that obviously members can work out any Orangetheory studio globally. And we want to leverage that and provide an even better customer experience, right? So you work out your Scottsdale location, everybody knows you, they know about you, and your experience is great. And like you said, you go to Miami, and there's maybe some notes in your profile, but does somebody have the time to pull that up and learn about you before you come in, or even know that you're coming from Scottsdale? So part of our technology is really what it's heads up intelligence, where there are some things that we want to know about you coming to Miami to make you feel welcome. Let's welcome you. It's your first visit. Maybe this is the 10th different studio you've been to. Let's tell you that fact. It's kind of cool. More importantly, let's find out, do you have any needs? Do you need to be on a bike or Strider instead of a treadmill? Do you have a knee issue so you can't do these exercises? And so we want to get the customer service associate and the coach up to speed in really less than a minute, so that when you walk in the door, it's like you're back in Scottsdale, but you're in Miami. And I think there's a real opportunity to make people feel more welcome, more assimilated into the culture, so that they can get the same experience no matter where they go. Because people, they want to have consistency and have the great experience. And I think uploading that intelligence will allow us to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, I really want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
this has been
my
excellent.
pleasure.
Everyone in Arizona knows who you are. Again, you're so much in there that people can't buy anymore. So we all know who you are in Arizona. I'm sure here in Florida, it's kind of the same deal. Yeah. But you're obviously doing a lot of great things, not just individually, but collectively as a company. And to see it firsthand, being able to come in here, it's been awesome. So thank you so much for your time and everything. Thanks for coming on the show. For everyone watching, for everyone listening, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever your favorite place to listen to podcasts might be. And if you really like this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.